What's up, YouTube? It's the one and only Legend of Winning, aka Low, and the Brooklyn Nets have just put off one of the greatest off-season acquisitions that we have seen in a very long time. Thanks to a few transactions and a really good season from a team that many people did not expect to even make the playoffs, the Brooklyn Nets went into this offseason as a destination for a few stars, and luckily for them, not only did Brooklyn sign Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Jordan, but also kept intact majority of their roster, which is always a big concern for a team that is acquiring big free agents that they won't have the depth that is necessary to compete. But the Brooklyn Nets don't even have to be concerned about that whatsoever. But for whatever reason, there are still a lot of people who are skeptical on what exactly this team can accomplish in this upcoming year, as well as what they're going to do moving forward. And in today's video, not only am I going to sit here and tell everybody to settle down because you're clearly overthinking it, but also, if Kevin Durant comes back healthy, and I understand that's a pretty big if, but if he does, the Brooklyn Nets have the potential to be a very interesting team that could compete for a championship sooner than later. But before we do that, let me tell you about today's sponsors, and they are SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a platform that allows its users to buy and sell tickets at very reasonable prices. Now, I know that the NBA season is over with, but there are multiple events that you can attend through SeatGeek. It doesn't matter if it's football, baseball, hockey, a concert, or even a comedy show, SeatGeek has you covered. And to all of my die-hard basketball fans out there, don't forget that the Big 3 season is in full effect. So if you want to watch basketball even though the NBA season is done, SeatGeek does sell tickets to Big 3 games. Now when it comes to SeatGeek, the reason why I always use them isn't just because of their great pricing, but also how easy it is to use the platform. Within 1 or 2 clicks, you can figure out where exactly in the arena you will be sitting and how close you will be to the action. And then even when you're looking at the seats, everything is color coded, so you know for a fact that you're getting a really good deal. Now, if any of this sounds interesting to you at all, you can go in the description and click the link below. And for all of the new users out there, on your first purchase, you can get $20 off if you use my promo code LOW. So huge thanks to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Again, click the link in the description and $20 off on your first purchase by using my promo code LOW. Now first, let's talk about Kyrie Irving, because outside of Kevin Durant and his torn Achilles, it seems as if what Kyrie is going to bring to the Brooklyn Nets in this upcoming season is one of the biggest concerns that many people have, and let me just reassure you that you are completely overthinking it. Now granted, and just for full transparency, last year didn't do Kyrie any favors whatsoever. Off the court, he had cryptic messages that allegedly built a rift between him and some of his teammates, and on the court, even though yes, he was fantastic during the regular season, during the postseason, he was horrendous and had multiple moments that I'm pretty sure he wants us to forget. And anyone who criticizes Kyrie from those two perspectives, I completely agree with you, as they are fair. However, there is this gross misrepresentation on who Kyrie Irving is as a player, and a lot of it just stems from people not understanding certain metrics in the NBA, and also the perception that the media has cast on Kyrie Irving over the past 12 to 18 months. Now, when it comes to Kyrie Irving, I believe it is fair to label him as a score-first point guard, and if there is an area in his arsenal that I would like for him to work on, it is his ability to be a better facilitator. Not saying that he isn't a good passer, but he just isn't willing enough to make the right passes when it's necessary, especially down the stretch in some very important games. But this idea that Kyrie is an overtly ball-dominant guard is a gross misrepresentation of who he is as a ball player, because when you actually compare him to his peers, you will clearly see he doesn't handle the ball that often at all. Many people don't understand this though, because they look at usage rating and believe that usage rating equates to how long a player handles a ball, which is completely inaccurate. And if anyone makes that argument, please correct them, because they just don't understand what usage rating is. There are actual metrics to figure out how long on average a player handles a ball per touches, how many times an isolation play is being called for a said player, or how many times the player is active in a pick and roll play. And if you look at all three of those metrics, as you clearly can see, Kyrie is towards the bottom of that list when you compare him to other elite level guards. So again, the concept that Kyrie Irving is such a ball dominant guard that it is a negative for his teammates is completely inaccurate, and he actually has a pretty well versatile game when it comes to scoring. scoring, as he's a lethal catch and shoot player. He can space out the floor, and he's actually a really good cutter for his size, as he can finish around the rim in multiple ways. And even if Kyrie Irving was as ball dominant as many people tried to make him out to be, guess what? It's not that big of a problem at all, as Kyrie Irving is easily one of the most efficient, prolific, and versatile scorers the game has ever seen. At every level, Kyrie Irving's shooting efficiency is borderline comparable to Steph Curry, as he shot in the high 40s this year from the field, 40% from behind the arc, and had an effective field goal percentage hovering right above 55%. Furthermore, even if Kyrie does take on a role that is a bit more ball dominant than he has been in previous years, it will be completely fine, because the teammates that are surrounding Kyrie have operated in that type of an offense. Last year, the Brooklyn Nets surrounded D'Angelo Russell with a bunch of shooters, as nearly 50% of D'Angelo Russell offensive sets came through a pick and roll situation. And even when it comes to Kevin Durant, granted in the past couple of years he's played with the Golden State Warriors, that definitely has a bit more ball movement, but KD on the wing spacing out the floor isn't going to be problematic either, because Kevin Durant is still a great three-point shooter. And even when the offense may dissolve into both KD and Kyrie isolating on the perimeter, again, it won't be that problematic, since both of them can shoot threes. So Kyrie being the ball handler on this team is not problematic whatsoever. If anything, it's the perfect team for him to be on, because again, they have structured their team around a ball dominant guard for the past 2 years with D'Angelo Russell and even Spencer Dinwiddie. And now that we're actually speaking on the rest of this team, let's tackle that next, because it is a huge plus that the Brooklyn Nets were able to keep majority of their role players through all of these transactions and acquisitions over the past several days. The Brooklyn Nets last year were one of the more exciting and interesting teams to watch, as they have really stole the hearts of many NBA fans, as they were extremely exciting. And of course, some of the interaction that we saw from the bench players were always funny memes on Twitter all the time. Now, when it comes to the actual play on the court, again, like I stated before, with D'Angelo Russell being such a ball dominant guard over the past 18 months, it will easily translate to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant's game. Karis LeVert, Joe Harris are two great floor spacers. Jared Allen is a great rim runner and rim protector. And then finally we have Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a willing bench player and will play the role both on and off ball extremely well, as he's been able to provide enough evidence for the past year that he is capable of doing so, as well as everyone else. So again, I'm not really concerned about the rest of this roster. If anything, it's a massive positive, because all of them understand their roles and they accept it. And also, before we go to Kevin Durant, when it comes to the front office and coaching, I believe both entities work well with everyone on the team. Kenny Atkinson, head coach for the Brooklyn Nets, proved last year that he is completely willing and able to work with point guards who are ball dominant, as he was a huge component to why D'Angelo Russell saw a massive jump in productivity for the past year. And then you have Sean Marks, who is easily one of the better general managers in the NBA, who turned an organization that was one of the worst in the NBA with little to no assets to a team that anyone could have been optimistic for, even if they didn't sign Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan. And then finally we have Kevin Durant, and honestly this should really and truly be the only concern that people have for this team, because a torn Achilles is a torn Achilles. I understand that Durant is a more skill-based player, he isn't heavily dependent on his athleticism, and he doesn't even weigh that much, so it shouldn't be that much strain being put on his lower body. But it's still a torn Achilles. It can still affect how productive a player is going to be, and with Kevin Durant being over 30 years of age, we were already more than likely going to see some type of decrease in his play, or at least some type of alteration on how he was going to be effective. But now with the torn Achilles, that process more than likely is going to be expedited, and the type of player that Kevin Durant will be by the end of this contract, or maybe even as early as next season, is still to be seen. However, the only reason why I'm so optimistic about what this team will do moving forward is simply because how great KD is as a player. Even if Kevin Durant is 80% of the player that he once was before, that's still pretty doggone good. I mean, that's a player that more than likely should still get you somewhere around 20 to 23 points per game, even at an advanced age. He still should be a great three-point shooter. He still should be able to have some type of advantages against some of the defenders, as he is, 7 feet tall. And his knack around the rim still should be able to give you enough on the offensive end that it really and truly may not matter what type of player he is all around, especially on the defensive end. So when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets, this is a huge positive, and I think too many people are overthinking it. Last year, even though yes, the Nets made the playoffs, and I don't want to marginalize their success because they were dealing with injuries throughout the entire season, at the end of the day, they were only a 42-win team, barely above 500, and unless D'Angelo Russell started to ascend to a level that was transcendent, there's absolutely no way that they would have been able to compete with teams such as the Milwaukee Bucks, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Toronto Raptors if Kawhi Leonard came back, and I would even argue with Boston bringing in Kemba Walker, they might not have even been able to compete with the Celtics. So the Brooklyn Nets this upcoming season, even without Kevin Durant, I'm expecting them to finish the year off with 47 to 55 wins. If they achieve more, then of course that would be even more impressive. But simply put, I just believe too many people are overthinking it. And if there is one concern, obviously it would be with Kevin Durant and his torn Achilles. But even if he comes back at 80%, the team will still be fine. Also, for the people out there who think that Kyrie Irving wants to be the man of his own team, that doesn't make any sense because he joined a team that features Kevin Durant. So I don't understand how that still works. For like the past 18 months, I kept hearing how Kyrie Irving wants his own team, how he wants to be the man, but yet the same media members turned around for the last like 8 months claiming that Kevin Durant and Kyrie were plotting together and trying to form this super team in New York. How does that work? How does Kyrie want to be the man of his own team, but yet was willing to join a team with Kevin Durant? But with all that being said, people, please let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. Huge shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Click the link in the description. And until next time, I will see you all later. Peace.